What is going on, everyone? Platinum Beast coming at you with yet another video. Today I'm going to be discussing my three first biggest mistakes I made while stacking precious metals. I'm hoping this turns into a little bit of a challenge, and I'm hoping that my fellow YouTube creators will make a video of their own discussing the same exact topic. But without further ado, let's get into it. Okay guys, so today we're going to be discussing my top or first three biggest mistakes that I personally made stacking precious metals when I first started out. I'm going to discuss the three different things I did wrong that I wish I wouldn't have done and wish I would have known about beforehand. And I'm also going to challenge everyone in the community to do a similar video of their own, right? And if you feel like shouting me out, you can shout me out, but you don't have to. There's no requirements to this. I just think it's a fun little thing that I would love to see kind of take off in the YouTube community to let each other know what our biggest mistakes are so that others can know what to avoid that are just starting out. But with all that being said, let's dive right on into these mistakes. So I'm going to show you across the screen the purchases or items or whatever the case may be of the things that I made mistakes on. Mainly that is because I no longer have many of the things that I purchased originally. And I'm going to discuss kind of some of the reasons why the mistakes were so bad and why I kind of wish I had known better beforehand. So my number one mistake I made when I first started stacking precious metals was I didn't know where to buy precious metals or what it was even all about, right? I didn't even really know about Reddit very much, so I didn't know about online forums where you could go and learn. I also didn't know about YouTube as far as using it as a resource to learn more about precious metals. So I just kind of started out of the blue. I just kind of Googled silver, right? And it came up with APMEX because they're the largest online bullion dealer. They're everywhere. So APMEX was the first result, clicked on it, bought some silver, and made some mistakes in the process. And that first mistake would be buying silver buffalo rounds. Now you might be thinking, hey, silver buffalo rounds are kind of cool. And that's not a bad deal. What's wrong with silver buffalo rounds? Well, there's a couple of mistakes that I made first in this purchase. Number one, I did not check other online dealers at the time to see what their prices were and compare and contrast. It wasn't until I was already along in my stacking journey, I figured out that APMEX is the highest price dealer of all. So if you're going to buy generic silver, don't buy it from APMEX. It's never going to be the best deal. APMEX is great for collectible stuff, don't get me wrong. And you can find some gems, such as this 20-ounce pesos that I found for the lowest premium around. However, for the most part, you want to stay away from them unless you're looking for a specific collector piece. But the mistake I made with the silver buffalo rounds was I paid with a credit card, right? Now, I'm not one to rack up debt. I usually pay off credit cards immediately, all that good stuff. I'm pretty responsible financially on that aspect. However, I will say I didn't realize, or I did realize that you could pay with a check and it cost a little bit less. I just didn't want to go through the hassle of having to do that and mail them a check. So I said, a few extra bucks isn't so bad. I'll just use a credit card. Well, that was before I figured out about dollar cost averaging. You want to pay the lowest possible. So if that means writing a check and mailing it, or using what I learned about later, what is known as e-check or an ACH transfer, you can pay less for your precious metals. And that's what the whole point of stacking really should come down to, is how can I buy precious metals for the lowest price possible shipped to my door? So I wish I had known what an easy process it would be, mailing APMEX a check and then in the future using e-check and ACH transfer. Had I done that, I wouldn't have made that large mistake of paying an exorbitant premium at the time, which was, I believe, $3 or $4 over spot. Again, I will have it across the video, but I paid a very high premium, or what was considered a high premium at the time, for something that shouldn't have been very much premium at all. Because generics back then, you could find for very, very low premiums pretty much anywhere else other than APMEX. So that was my number one mistake. Mistake number two, paying spot price or close to it for war nickels. Now, again, I want to mention that this was at a different time in history, I guess. History as if it was a long time ago. It wasn't that long ago, but it was at a different point in time. And at that time, you could very easily find war nickels below spot, especially from private individuals. Later on, I learned that most people are begging people to take their war nickels, and you can get it much further below spot than just spot price. So buying war nickels at spot price from APMEX again, was not a good investment in my opinion. At the time I bought the war nickels, 90% silver was going for the same premium or lower from private individuals. And that stuff's on the private market all day, every day, in Facebook and Reddit and stuff. But of course, the premiums have gone up, so it's a different time right now. But back then, I bought war nickels not knowing really what I was getting into and not knowing much about war nickels. Now, I know there's a lot of fans of war nickels and 40%ers, and that's totally cool if that's your thing. But paying the same amount as 90%, that is definitely not my thing. Now, if I can get some war nickels really, really low, sure. Or 40% really, really low, or I need it to get free shipping or something, sure. That's all fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, you definitely want to be paying much less for 35% and 40% over 90%, and I paid pretty much the same when I first started out. So that would be mistake number two that I made when I first started really getting into stacking precious metals. Now, mistake number three. Now, this one's going to be a little bit controversial, and I know some people are going to disagree and maybe not like this, but buying MS69 coins. Now, I want to explain why this is not that great of an idea or a deal. Now, of course, it's going to vary on what coin that is. If it's an extremely rare coin, the 69 is not going to matter because the coin itself is rare. However, people will probably pay the same price for a 69 coin as a raw coin. That is almost always the case regardless. So, and in some cases, people will pay more for a raw coin than a 69 because the raw hasn't been graded. If it's something rare, like a rare proof that's been in the capsule since day one, there's a higher chance you could get a 70 from that than breaking out the 69 and sending it back to get a 70. You probably won't be able to do that. So that coin's fate has already been sealed as a less than perfect coin. And in the collector community, MS69s are very, very undesirable. Now, there are some people who love them. Personally, I think they do look almost identical to 70s, but there are some people that are hardcore into the 70s, so much so that they'll pay sometimes even almost double just for one number different in the grading scale. So MS69 coins are something that I wish I had stayed away from, and of course, I do not any longer have my 69 coins except for one which I have talked about in the past. I still have that coin, but I had at one point a 69 Eagle, a 69 Panda, things of that nature, and I decided I didn't want them because of that 69. It drove me nuts too much, and I tried selling them, and I had the hardest time ever selling them. I barely got anything more than just a raw coin price. So that's something I wish I had learned about in the beginning and stayed away from. So that's the top three first mistakes I made in stacking, right? I challenge other YouTube creators to let me know what their first three biggest mistakes in stacking were. And if you aren't a YouTube creator, let me know what they were down below in the comment section. I would love to hear from people who aren't even YouTube creators on what their first three biggest mistakes in stacking precious metals were. But yeah, guys, that's what I have for you today. Let me know what your thoughts are and opinions. Did you make bigger mistakes in your beginning journey than me? Did you not make those mistakes because you were a little bit more thorough in your research? Let me know all that down in the comment section down below. Be sure to hit your like button on your way out. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with future updates on my channel. And with all that being said, guys, until next time, we will see ya.